put towels in here. What the hell? What? How are you gonna put? What is that thing? It's a little shell. He brought Florida. I think it's from Georgia, actually. I will actually be using these.
Can't ever have enough towels.
This thing is actually pretty light. This thing is really, really small. But that is the right size. Shit, I don't even have anything in there to get it off. There she is. Well, Daniel, I think his name is. Daniel Danny. Thank you. It looks great so far, from what I can tell. Of course, you put these on wrong, but that.
close is it? Your gear oil.
5 stops away.
5 stops. You just couldn't handle it. You had to sit outside and watch and wait.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm scared of my package.
You're not gonna go out and greet your package?
I don't want her to think like this could be some shady white boy just waiting to steal package. Why is it so stupid? It was sealed. Honey, let's go. Okay, so it's a couple days later. The GoPro died, or it didn't die on me. The GoPro actually, the SD card filled up. Had 128 gig on there, but I didn't notice that it filled up completely, but then it did shut off. So everything is back in. Transmission looks great. Everything looks great. It went pretty smooth. The second time around, I had a lot of trouble with the driver's side axle and the intermediate shaft. I'm not gonna lie, I did hit the intermediate shaft to try to get it in with a hammer. The last time I put it in when I got the motor back from Jimmy with Busher and All In Racing. So I got the motor back. When I was trying to put it in, I hit it off the side a little bit, but it did mushroom out. But all I did was follow that out a little bit, and ended up going pretty smooth. This time I still had a little bit of hassle in it, getting it back in. So that went okay after that, but that I've probably fought that the longest out of all of them, or out of all the, getting the whole thing in. Now definitely helps having a transmission jack and a regular jack. I wish I had a lift, but see, I don't have the biggest garage. Pretty much it's a really deep garage, but not that wide. So, or I would have actually it's not that tall either. And I realized my walls look really, it gets wet in here. So it's a lot of mildew buildup in it. Whatever, I don't care. I'll probably be building a new garage at some point. But at some point, whoever had the car before me, they must have mushroomed out the axle a little bit, probably doing some kind of maintenance. I'm actually surprised that bolt is still even holding on, because it didn't have the most threads, but I cleaned them up as much as I could. I didn't have a thread chaser that size, but yeah. So just a little bit ago, I got the gear oil in the mail, so I was finally able to get that in there. Let me show you which ones I was using. I am now using the Modal Gear 300 7590. I was running the MT90 Redline, but I felt like it's a little bit more notchy than I wanted it to be. I'm not saying anything bad about them. To be honest, it could have been my old Slave cylinder. It had about 200,000 miles on it. I drove the crap out of it. The car has about 290,000, but I know you really can't tell, but dumped a lot of time and effort into making that happen. When I took all the fluid out of the slave, through the whole slave cylinder track, it was pretty dirty. So that could have even been causing the issue, but it was still moving as it should. I just think that it could have. But whenever I would shift into fifth, sometime, not so much missing regular gears, but it's always fifth gear. So it could just be an issue with the synchros in that gear. But whenever I'm getting on it, I rarely get into fifth gear anyway, because at the track I'm popping across the line at 9,000 RPMs, I think. And whenever I pop across the line, it's topped out fourth gear. So that's the most it ever really sees in hard miles. I've never even done a top speed run on this car. I think it would hit it pretty quick, but I just don't like doing that kind of stuff on the road. I know most people are just like, you pussy, street outlaws, blah, 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 blah. So, other than that, the car, I did drive it that night, being a quart low on gear oil, but I did not get on it. I did do a little two-step. I didn't let it get too hot for one, but took it for a drive, shift perfectly, like butter. But the clutch, without having the sprung hub center and without having that bigger floater plate for the twin plate Exedy HD clutches, there's less inertia, of course. I knew, everyone hears that, but it really made it feel like a whole new car. So I'm really excited about that. Let's see. So besides that, it just feels amazing. It's easier to push than a twin plate HD. It is easier. So obviously here's the old ones. Obviously it's pretty beat up, missing some springs, missing that, but I'm sure you saw in the last video the spring, it didn't even touch the outer like the actual grind. God damn, I can't even talk. It didn't even touch the anyway, the surfaces of the flywheel and the floater plates, those were all good. I found a bunch of these pretty much everywhere, so that was 100% causing my issue. But I think what was making it hard to get in gear, it always sounded like, it always felt like it had a little bit more vibration after that real first track day that I had. But I think that was mainly just caused because of this right here. These things right here wasn't letting the plates close completely. Now it didn't mess up the surface of the actual flywheel or the top plate, but it did like grind up on the inside. There's like a lip, and then where it sits in, where the spring and stuff doesn't go, but it has like a little bit of play for it. It grinded up there, but that's not a big deal. That clutch had like 8,000. To be honest, I don't even think it was 8,000 miles, because I had it redone at the end of last year after the track season. So, you know, I drove it throughout the winter, and then I found that oil leak and stuff, but little things like that. So it probably had about, yeah, I'm sticking probably about 8,000 miles. Sorry to drag that along, but that's just the way it is. Now, I did sell the parts off, so that's that helped recuperate a little bit of the money. Hey, babe, a little bit of the money for the twin plate itself. I got a really good deal. This guy named Danny, I think is his name. He's on Facebook. Good guy. Don't be afraid to deal with him. He got it out to me with a quickness. So he was down in Florida. Or Georgia, and I got it Monday, and got it in that night, and got done about 4:30 in the morning. So that was pretty quick. Yeah, so now I'm about to go take it for the first test drive, and actually be able to get on it once it gets warmed up, and we'll see how it goes. My car starts on the E85. Cody at Redline Tuning, he's the one that tuned the car, and I always heard about everybody, you know, saying like whenever you do E85 tune that it's you know, it's really, really hard to start in the mornings, things like that. Luckily, I haven't had that issue at all, but let me show you guys. That's no throttle at all. So, just away she goes. Got check engine light on. I actually didn't unhook the battery whenever I did my transmission swap, so I'm thinking that's why I have that check engine light. I should actually get rid of that right now, but yeah, you guys see how the cold start is.